My dad had always been a ladies' man. You know, the kind of person who flirts with the supermarket cashier and wears a gold watch and chain. I don't know what my mom saw in him. She was kind and caring. After I was born, she gave up her career as a nurse to stay home with me. She made a lot of sacrifices for us. Unlike my mom, Dad was selfish. He spent most of his wages on himself, and sometimes it was hard for Mom to pay all the bills with what was left. She wouldn't speak up about it though. She was too afraid of arguing with my dad. He's very intimidating. But the worst thing was that he was openly cheating on her. We all knew it. Sometimes he didn't come home until really late, if at all, and my mom often cried because of it. I remember when I was 9. I got so sick of him, I screamed, "You need to treat Mom with respect!" But he just shrugged and said, "She gets what she deserves. Every day I work hard to put food on the table. You better be grateful or move out and find your own job." Mom didn't say anything. That's how our family was. No one dared to speak out against my dad. We were all scared of him. I wanted Mom to leave, but she didn't. So part of me blames her for what happened next. My dad's uncle died and left him a lot of money. A decent man would use it to build a better life for his family, right? Not my dad. He didn't even tell us about the money. Instead, he told Mom he was leaving her and walked out with just a small bag of things. I guess he figured he didn't need his stuff because he could buy everything new. Mom was absolutely devastated. I never heard anyone cry so hard. I ran over and hugged her, saying, "Don't worry, Mom, you still have me." But after they split up, she became very depressed. She had to find a new job, but it had been too long since she'd left nursing, so she became a cashier. She couldn't afford to pay the rent on our home, so Mom and I moved into a studio apartment and slept on mattresses on the floor. We lived like this for over a year, and I felt so bad for my mom. Dad didn't even try to get in touch with us. I was 13 when I was at the mall and saw my dad again. He was with a girl who was maybe 20 or something. I was disgusted. Had Dad divorced Mom to date this girl? I followed them back to their car, but it wasn't just any car, but a brand new BMW X5. How did Dad get the money for it? I knew I had to find out where he was living and went to the police. I told them I didn't know where my father was, and the next day they gave me his address. I wanted to confront him and went over to his house, but when I got there, I was too scared to ring the bell. Instead, I snuck in the backyard and climbed up a tree where I could see directly into their living room. At first, nothing happened. I started to get bored, but just as I was about to go, I saw something shocking. My dad came into the room with 2 girls. One was the girl I'd seen the other day, and the other looked so similar they could have been sisters. They were both in their 20s, while my dad was in his early 50s. I won't go into detail about what I saw, but one woman was wearing a bunny costume while the other was wearing a schoolgirl uniform. It was gross. Back home, I wasn't sure if I should tell my mom, but I decided she had the right to know. I told her about Dad's new house, but not the 2 women with him. I didn't want to hurt her feelings more than necessary. Mom said she didn't mind, but I said, "Maybe Dad got all his money before you divorced. If that's the case, you deserve half of it." My mom wasn't sure, but I kept pressuring her until she finally hired a lawyer to find out what was going on. It took a few months for the lawyer to get access to my dad's bank transactions, but when he did, we discovered my dad had inherited that money a week before he told Mom he wanted a divorce. I hated him more than ever. The courts found out his uncle had left my dad $2 million and awarded half of it to my mom. However, Dad had already spent over a quarter of his inheritance. So after he paid my mom, he complained he only had $400,000 left. But my dad's shameless. Can you believe he actually came to my mom and asked her for forgiveness, said he wanted to try again. But this time, even Mom had had enough, and she told him to go away. Life's great now. We don't have to worry about money anymore, and my mom even started online dating to find a new boyfriend. She told me about a couple of her dates, and it sounded like they were much nicer guys than my dad. I'm so proud of my mom for finally having the courage to stand up to him.